What's going on, guys? There's something corrupt about being a billionaire. My wife and I, we were talking about if an individual is worth $1 billion or more, not only is that billionaire corrupt, but I also believe that people around that billionaire, people who are worth a couple hundred million in that billionaire circle, is also corrupted. And here's why. If you found my channel, this is the first time you ever seen a video about Black, please hit the subscribe button, please like, please hit the notifications. And yeah, let's get into the video.
Talk about the reality that Elon Musk himself owns more wealth than the bottom 52% of American households. Is that a moral issue? Are we comfortable with that?
Wow.
It's a simple question. And there are some people who say, hey, yeah, that's okay. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Elon's a brilliant guy. He's a hardworking guy. Or other billionaires start their own companies. They're really bold and brave. Fine. They deserve it. And if you are trying to get by on $40,000 a year, well, tough crap.
How do you think Elon feels about it?
I don't know him. I've only talked to him many years ago, so I don't know him personally, but I'll tell you what I do think. There is a new breed of uber capitalists out there. They write about this as well. They are superior human beings. You know, it's a dog-eat-dog world. I made it. You didn't make it. Hey, man, that's the way life goes. It's deeper than that, which really diminishes democracy. The smart and the wealthy and the powerful have the right to rule. There's nothing new about that. The divine, used to be the divine rights of kings.
Or manifest destiny.
Exactly. Yes. I am the king. God made my family king. And sorry you're starving to death, but that's the way life goes. God told me my family rules. There is some.
There are 3,428 billionaires in the world. There are 989 billionaires in the United States. China comprises another 620 to 630 billionaires in China. And that's even a smaller number in comparison because China, right, makes up 18 to 19% of the population. However, 3,400 amongst the world, guys, 20 of those billionaires are worth $100 billion or more. It's crazy. Essentially, the billionaires in the world, they comprise of 0.0001%. They are the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, i.e. the elite group. You have some people in that group like a Michael Jordan. You have some people in that group like a Tiger Woods, a LeBron, right? So it's not just CEOs. It's not just hedge fund owners or money managers or financiers or, politicians. There are people in the entertainment world, Bruce Springsteen, Rihanna, Taylor Swift, who are worth billions of dollars, which is crazy. Once you hit $1 million or maybe $10 million, all that stuff just matriculates and it just increases. These people directly and indirectly control the world. Why? Because they own most of the money. How does Dick Wolf control the world? He's not like a leader. He's not in the government. You know what I'm saying? A lot of government officials don't make a lot of money. So I'm just putting that out there, right? But how does someone like Dick Wolf control the world? How does someone like LeBron control the world? Because they have influence. They indirectly control the minds of viewers. Having money is having connections. Having connections, having influence. Having influence is having control. Why do I say something corrupt about being a billionaire? One, homelessness exists. The fact that homelessness exists, and we're just talking about America, the fact that there's 989 billionaires, 989 people, that is comparison to like 2 or 3 neighborhoods in Florida. 2 or 3 neighborhoods within the whole country that basically owns, influence, and controls the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of wealth in the nation. Yet there's homelessness. There isn't universal health care. Money should help a nation. All these billionaires, they just open up charity cases, but that's just to hide money. I was listening to something briefly where it says a lot of billionaires, where they avoid taxes or avoid the Forbes list, right? Avoids the IRS knowing about all their pocket change, is they open up charities, shell of a shell companies, and they put crap overseas. They still have control of their money, but they're not considered owning all their money. They've just placed it within different subsidiaries, and having a charity is one of them. So charities is just tax write-offs. Starting a business, guys, is tax write-offs. And that's where we come in. We come in as employees. A couple of these CEOs, right? Billionaires, if not about to be billionaires. We are the reason why people get rich. Consumption. We are per capita. We are a number to why people get rich. We can survive off of a couple, tens of thousands of dollars a year, $100,000 a year, right? We try to survive. Where's the corruption behind that, you may ask? it actually defeats democracy. Billionaires, since they control 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the world's worth, that means they control the voting, they control the elections, they control actually the say, right? Billionaires are behind the president. It's not the president, it's not the Congress, it's people above them that have influence. It's the media that has influence. People who own the media, they have influence. So this comes to, me and neighbors, friends, families, people, the average Joes, right? Who aren't even worth a couple $100,000, it influences our life. The trajectory of a billionaire builds a pathway where their wealth, influence, and power increases, and the 99.9% of other people diminish. It's a slow build, and it gets pretty fast for a lot of them, but it's a slow death for us. Those resources are gone. A billionaire, like, why is that so evil? They've deserved their money, blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to provide some devil advocacy here. Does one man really need that much influence, control, or ownership? Money is the world. Money runs the world. Money does make the world go round. We work to make money. I say this to my wife all the time. If everybody had the opportunity to pocket $250,000, maybe even $100,000, and they were smart with their money, they wouldn't have to work again. Maybe. So again, we work to make money. So it runs the world. Everywhere you look is a business. Everywhere you look is an enterprise. An entity is somewhere making money. There's transactions happening every second of the day. Money runs the world. If it didn't, we wouldn't have to work. Why would one man, one woman, Oprah, need or would want to have so much influence over both the pockets, the finances, and the mind? Because now it's attached. The mind and money's attached, guys. Why would someone want to have that much influence? Why don't you tap out at 5 million or 10 million? You can live great. That's generational wealth at 5 million. Why do you need to get to 50 million, 100 million, 500 million, a billion, 5 billion? Why do the rich keep getting richer or want to get richer? Why don't they tap out? They know whatever is in their pocket, they can control the world. People want to control the world. And don't think of it as just anarchy, devilish, everyone's gonna die mentality. Like when I say control the world, think of it as people want to influence the minds of millions without even knowing any of them. People want to be famous. People want to have that legacy of being influential and being impactful in an environment where they created. Start having a God complex. Look at people who make $250,000 a year, if not more. Look how they act. Certain people, not everybody. They're only making $250,000. So they could be worth anywhere from $100,000 to maybe $1 million, right? These are average people who can do this, right? There's hundreds of thousands of millionaires around the world, right? So you can do that. 401k, save your money, sell some stock, invest and sell some stock, invest in some real estate, sell it. You could be worth $1 million. But the mind begins to wander when you start hitting 10 million, 50 million, 100 million. Like, how are you acquiring all that wealth? Is it a blood contract? We hear this a lot in the entertainment industry, right? Hollywood and music. People really selling their souls. Well, what are they producing, right? How are you impacting the world? A lot of movies, music, art is demonic-like, right? There's signs of, at least, we won't use the word demonic in the extreme case, but there's signs of providing a stumbling block to people, to young people, to children, in the entertainment, in the airways, right? Sound is manifestation. When you manifest killing, even if it's about your own experience, it's what people want to do. When you manifest drugs, even in your own experience, it's what people want to do. Indirect influence in the airways with people who have that platform, Well, let's get a little bit less extreme, right? Because not everybody is bound down to the devil, signing their soul and just want to be rich forever, right? Like people that we assume are doing that. There's devil worshipers all over the world. And a lot of devil worshipers, I'll even say most devil worshipers aren't even worth $1 million. So just because you do that, right, or in that realm, don't mean you're rich or have that influence. So I don't want to have that misconception, but it is significant that even in a less extreme case, a person who's acquiring a lot of property, what are they doing? They're taking away from the people who have less resources. I'm looking to buy a home for my family. If all these hedge fund companies, all these investment companies, just buy them up. They're gonna sell it for a price that I can't afford. That's what's happening today. There's corruption behind that. It waters down the effect of actually being a part of or grinding for the American dream. I can't do that now. I can make $100,000 and it's getting harder for me to buy a home, buy a decent home. I can make $150,000 and it's harder for me to retire. Why? Because the rich, the people who are worth tens and hundreds of millions, they're influencing my day-to-day activities, and I don't know them and they don't know me. How crazy that is? That's what's corrupt behind it. There's people in power, guys, that we will never even hear of. The Trumps, the Sanders, the Madoff, the Epsteins, people like that. We know of their name because they want us to know of their name. They do. They act in a way that there's a God complex. God wants to be known. So people act in a way to be known. That's part of the influence. That's part of the game, guys. There's people who may not be worth as much, right? Elon, $864 billion. Bezos is what, $200 to $300 billion? Something ridiculous. I remember 4 or 5, 6 years ago, he was worth like $100 billion. How it doubled? Once you get to like $5, $10 million, man, that stuff just keeps going if you want it to. And most people want it to. There is something said to be worth or wanting to be worth that much money. $1 billion? I'm telling you, if America was moving in a pace like a lot of other continents or regions, i.e. in Africa, i.e. in Asia, Southeast Asia, where things don't have to be so expensive. A lot of people can live in different places in the world with a family on $50,000 a year and be straight. That's almost poverty in the States. So when I think about stuff like that and why I like to travel and just see options, I'm like, the fact that people think, need, or even want to be worth more than a couple of $1 million, guys, is obscene to me. Because there's a group that you have to be in. There's a certain person that you have to become. Bruno Mars, right? He's one of the most influential artists probably of our time. I want to be a millionaire so freaking bad. He's worth $1 million years ago, probably decades ago. Why do you want to be worth so much money? I don't know. You got to start asking yourself, like, why people want to have so much money. What is the need? What is your trajectory? What are you using it for? How are you influencing people? Even when you're not, in the face of the consumers. Money runs the world. So the more money you have, the more power and influence you have. So like, what are you doing with that power and influence? Something corrupt about being a billionaire, wanting to be a billionaire, reaching that accumulated wealth. Because there's so much corruption still in the world, so much evil still in the world, sickness, and lack of education in the world. Why would that continue? Well, there's an agenda. There's a mystic, extraterrestrial, spiritual agenda out there where the goal is separation, and it always is. There's going to be a class of people, there always will. It's always going to be small. It's always going to be diminishing the minorities, which are the majority of the world, and the have-nots will continue to have not because resources are being sucked up by the elites. Look at all these people who've impacted your life, and then look at your life. At the end of the day, you make your own decisions, but our steps are influenced, guys. Our path is written. And if we're not understanding why it's like that, we're just going to be on this invisible string and having our puppet master continue to puppeteer us. The elites control the world. They control the mind. So we got to somehow escape from that surface level of thinking and just see the writing on the wall. If I said something that sparked your interest, this is your first time watching the channel, please hit the sub button. Please leave a like. Drop a comment. Do you think being worth $1 billion is evil, is corrupt, or am I exaggerating? Have you guys seen what's been going on in the world, or am I exaggerating? There's people out there with influence to change the world, not just lies, but the world. And it's not happening. As always, guys, see you on the next one. Keep maneuvering.